Stanislaw Zaryn is the director of the National Security Department in Poland. He joins us from Warsaw. Stanislaw, good to have you with us. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So we have seen money, we have seen weapons pour into Ukraine so that it can fight Russia. Russia does not have that advantage, though it did have a much bigger army to begin with. However, it has suffered severe losses. So when you look at the Donbass region, where the heavy fighting is right now, what does Russia have in its advantage that Ukraine does not?
Well, I think that we should not undermine the Russian capabilities. Russia is still dangerous not only for Ukraine, which is what is obvious, but also is dangerous for the whole European order, European peace. Russia is waging very brutal, cruel war against the Ukraine, but also is waging another one, war, information war, psychological one as well, to press the whole West. So we see that Russia started war. It's not going according to the Kremlin's plan, but still Russia poses a threat to Ukraine, to the whole European nations, especially in the Central Eastern Europe. What is very important that Ukraine has been supplied and has political support from the West, and we all know that it is crucial to help Ukrainians fight against Russian invaders. I think that Russia has still new capabilities, some deeper abilities to start another phase of military offensive. But right now we see that the first plans are not. Russia is not going to achieve the main goals which was appointed at the beginning of this invasion.
And remember, it's been only a matter of weeks that the world was worried that Russia would expand its attack, possibly into Moldova on the western side of Ukraine. Now that Russia has had to retreat to the far east of Ukraine, does that possibility of invading Ukraine's neighbors seem just a remote possibility or an impossibility at this point?
I think we should not see this scenario as very likely. What is a plausible scenario is that Russia will try to use so-called hybrid methods to interfere into other regions or other countries. Perhaps will try to use disinformation. Of course, Russia will try to use disinformation to sow chaos in crucial countries in this this moment. But it is plausible that Russia will try to use also hybrid scenarios, hybrid methods to destabilize other countries. Moldova is one of the countries that should be and should be aware of the threats. We also see that Russian propaganda is hitting very actively Poland, is also trying to destabilize the Baltic states by using hostile narratives, hostile disinformation. So definitely Russia is still the main threat, main challenge for the whole European and NATO members, especially on the eastern flank of the alliance. So Russia is now focused on the eastern part of Ukraine, which we can see on every map right now. But we should also be aware that this invasion is slow, but is going forward. Russia is still reaching new territories, is able to defend Ukrainian defenders. So it's not the end of the war.
You know, I thought that was intriguing when you mentioned the disinformation. I saw your tweet yesterday where you said even though Russia has suffered these losses, it is actually gaining momentum in information warfare. How is that possible, though, now that the world has seen so much more of what Russia's alternate reality is to what is actually happening on the ground?
Well, it is very concerning. I agree with your suggestions. But we see that from the very beginning of this invasion against Ukraine, Russia stepped up its disinformation efforts. It is showing manipulated picture of this invasion. First of all, to keep Russian society manipulated and lied. But also we can see that Russia is trying to infect with lies international opinion, international public. Russia is it is one of strategic goals for Russia right now to avoid the appearance of aggressor, to manipulate the image of this invasion, because Russia wanted to go back to doing business with the West. Russia wanted to find and to support such circles on the Western communities, which are interested even now in going back to the deals, to economic cooperation with Russia. And the second very important goal for Russian disinformation right now is to intimidate the Western societies, which are especially those who are engaged in supporting and supplying Ukraine. So this disinformation is something which is very crucial for Kremlin right now, and we see that some disinformation content, some Russian thesis in recent days has been able to make its way to the Western media, to the Western society.
Yeah, it's like another front in and of itself. All right, Stanislaw Zaryn, so good to have you.
Thank you.